All right, let's see. With the time we have left, I want to answer as many questions as I can. So let's do that. Oh yeah, Big Lebowski book. I do want to do that as well. How much did it cost me? All told, this year. Let's see. Do you want just me, or do you want like both me and Katie? I'll do just me. Okay, so it was like. And do you want like gas? Because we drove. So there's gas to consider as well. So let's see. Doing some quick maths. Well, for just me, with the gas, with the camp dues, which paid for our water, our food, that kind of stuff, and our vehicle. I had to pay for a vehicle pass because you can't drive in without getting a vehicle pass. So I had to pay for that. So all told, like I want to say around like 1,600, something like that. Oh fuck! Ads. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. While the ads are going, let me go grab my Lebowski book. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about the ad, but if you didn't hear, this year it ran about $1,600. That's for tickets, gas, vehicle pass, and camp dues. And it's a big expenditure up front, like your first time, because you buy it. If you don't own camping equipment and you want to go camping, you have to buy the camping equipment, right? So the first expenditure is going to be a lot, and then every expenditure or every time afterwards, it's going to be a lot less because you already have those items. So like last year would have been a lot more because I bought bikes, like nice new bikes, and those were $1,600 on their own. Not each, 800 apiece. So like once you have certain things, you don't have to buy more of those things. Like certain things you take every year. But yeah. 1,600. There you go. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's not cheap to go out there. It's not. But you save up for it all year. You know when it's coming, you know how much it's gonna be, so you save up for it, which is what I do. Something I've always wondered, can you bring and drive whatever vehicle you want, legal or not, to Burning Man? I'm not sure what you mean by legal or not, Submega. Hold on. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I went and got this is one of the playa things that was in our camp, and I was like, can I take this? And they were like, yeah, sure. Because it's the Big Lebowski as written by, if it was written by Shakespeare. And I'll just read you a passage here. Act 1, Scene 1. The Knave's house, and the Knave is Lebowski. His name in this is the Knave. The Knave's house. Enter the Knave carrying parcels, and Blanche and Wu. They fight. Blanche. Whither the money, Lebowski? Faith. We are as servants to Bonnie, promised by the Lady Good, that thou in turn were good for't. Wu. Bound in honor, we must have our bond. Cursed be our tribe if we forgive thee. Blanche. Let us soak him in the chamber pot, so as to turn his head. Wu. Aye, and see what vaporizes. Then he will see what is foul. They insert his head into the chamber pot. Blanche. What dreadful noise of waters in thine ears? Thou hast cooled thy head. Think now upon drier matters. Wu. Speak now on ducats, else again we wheel thee duckest. Whither the money, Lebowski? The Knave. Faith, it awaits down there someplace. Prithee, let me glimpse again. Wu. What, thou rash egg? Thus will we drown thine exclamations. They again insert his head into the chamber pot. Blanche. Trifle not with the fury of two desperate men. Long has thy wife sealed a bond with Jacques Treehorn. As blood is to blood, surely thou owest to Jacques Treehorn in recompense. Wu. Rise and speak wisely, man, but hark. I see thy rug. Rug as woven in the Orient. A treasure from abroad. I like it not. I'll stain it thus. To deadbeats ever thus. He stains the rug. The Knave. Sir, prithee, nay. Blanche. Now thou seest what happens, Lebowski, when the agreements of honorable business stands compromised. If thou wouldst treat money as water flowing as the gentle rain from heaven, why, then thou knowest water begets water. It will be a watery grave, your rug, drowned in the weeping brook. Pray remember, Lebowski. So that's them threatening Lebowski, putting his head in the toilet and peeing on the rug. And it continues. It's the entire fucking movie in Shakespearean form. It's great. Okay, so just one small thing. So we have an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes left. So let me get through some questions here. I'm going to get through them as fast as and concisely but accurately as possible. Okay. Let's see. From Sea Lion. On the long drive back, what was the one thing that you were craving most? Sleep? Comfort? A shower? No. We showered before we left. So what we started doing is driving the 14 and a half hours. Oh, sorry.
I sucked a dick today, one too much. I will go for a pussy next weekend. Can you bless me?
I bless you, Simo. I bless you. May you find pussy next weekend. Did you ever feel unsafe, unwell, or uncomfortable? No. Yes. And yes. But uncomfortable in that, like I couldn't get comfortable. Not like uncomfortable around people. But unsafe, never. For whatever reason, there's not a lot of aggro out there. Probably because you're allowed to do whatever. Like there's no real boundaries on what you can do except the ones you put on yourself. You know, it's like if you want to get drunk, get drunk. If you want to do drugs, do drugs. If you want to go out and dance and get wild, go do that. You can do like with freedom comes the lack of frustration about not being able to do things. But I've never seen a fight out there. Not once. I've been there 6 times and I've never seen like, I've heard people yelling at each other, but as far as like actual like physical altercations, I've seen 0, none. And that's fucking saying something, you know? I'm sure there are, but I've never seen one. And if you go to a bar regularly, I'm sure you see one there once every couple of nights. Or a dive bar, I suppose. Not a regular like hoity-toity bar. Well, Thunderdome is not fisticuffs. It's foam bats. You hit each other with foam bats. So that's not the same thing. And also, it's not the same thing. People agree to go in there to fight each other. Okay, questions. I can't answer questions from chat anymore because I have enough in the official questions place to keep me going for the rest of the stream, I think. Okay, so, was there one thing you're craving on the long drive back? Not really, because you stop a lot. Like, you inevitably have to stop to get gas. So anything you really want, you just go get it. Like, if you want Taco Bell, you can just stop at a town and get Taco Bell. Like, it was a 14 and a half hour drive from our hotel, because that's what we do. We drive into a hotel, stay there the night, wake up, and then go into the Burning Man. Same thing when we come out. Come out of Burning Man, stay at a hotel, wake up, and then drive. So, not really craving anything. I mean, except not to drive that much, you know. Craving the drive to be over. Cosmic Blip. You have been to Burning Man a few times. Now, does anything you see at the event ever shock you anymore? Or are you so used to it now? Does anything shock me? No, not really. There's nothing really like, I guess the only shocking thing, like shocking in a maybe negative way, is I'm not into dick. Like dicks, balls, men, they're not attractive to me. But you see them everywhere. You see dicks and balls and butts hanging out all the time. And not necessarily the most attractive bunch sometimes. So like, I guess you'll turn around and be like, oh, penis. And you didn't really care to see a penis at that point in time. But that's basically all it is. It's just like, I saw something that I'm not necessarily attracted to, but it's not really shocking. Like, maybe shocking and like awe-inspiring, then yes, all the time. Like some of the art pieces out there are huge, enormous, and you're just like, holy fuck, how'd they put this together? Like that happens, sure. But as far as like shockingly, like, people that go out to Burning Man don't really get shocked by, people who are pearl clutchers, who are like, ooh, like that, like squeamish around shit. I'm not squeamish around anything, so like, surprising more than shocking, I would say. Were any of the dicks awe-inspiring? I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Next question. At every event you come back and learn something new. What did you learn this time that you didn't know before? That's a good question. This year was pretty hot with a low amount of wind. So like it was just the sun beating down, you sweating, but a lot of times out there the wind will come through, like even a gentle wind, and cool you off because you're already wet with sweat. This time not so much. So next year I am for sure figuring out a way to bring a parasol, which is different than an umbrella. I found out parasols are just for the sun. They're not for like guarding you from rain, but a parasol to shade you while I'm walking or riding my bike. I'm going to try and rig up something that keeps a shadow on me from the sun. That's something I learned that I want to apply, excuse me. An umbrella hat would be good too, yeah. Let's see. Whose job is it to clean the car afterwards, or do you help or just let a partner do it? Well, it's usually my job is to unload and organize the shit, and she cleans it, actually. Like, she'll blow and vacuum out the dust, but I'll take the stuff, like the crates and stuff out and open them up and take all the shit out, you know, shake out the dust of what needs to be shaken out, throw away the stuff that's garbage, so on and so forth. But she usually does the cleaning and I do the unloading, basically. This is probably a dumb question, but do you see people flying drones at Burning Man? Yes, absolutely. A lot of times they're hard to see because they're way up in the sky, but yeah, people fly drones out there. And they're totally fine. They are a little like, I've never experienced it, but I'm sure they can be very intrusive. If you fly your drone into a camp that it wasn't inviting a drone, then that's kind of shitty. You don't want to do that. But if it's flying over the playa and just like looking at like an aerial view, or like flying down to look at like art pieces and stuff, that's totally fine. But not as many as you'd think. And also there's an awesome drone show that I showed during the recap. How much weight do you think you lose from walking and cycling at Burning Man? It depends on if you're being provided food at your camp. Like, I probably, if I didn't weigh myself before and after this year, but I usually lose somewhere between 2 and 10 pounds, depending on how much food I eat or bring. But this year, I probably lost, I would imagine, like 5 pounds. But it's just because you are constantly like sweating, moving, walking, biking. Like I said, I probably put no less than 25 miles on my bike this week. Probably more, to be honest with you. But yeah, you do a lot of exercising without even thinking about it, because you bike everywhere. Okay. Why do they only burn men and not women? I don't fucking know, dude. It's like, you gotta look up the story of Burning Man, and I'm sure there'll be an explanation for you that they can give better than me. Bring me next year. Okay, Johnny, you got it. Vincent, what is the one thing you would want to change about how Burning Man is run or organized? Are we talking pie in the sky? Like I could have anything I want? Like I can wave a magic wand? You know what I do? Have a fucking better way of ingress and egress, and I don't know how that works. But like, the worst part about Burning Man, by far, and probably everybody's opinion, is getting in and getting out of it. Because it is fucking terrible. It takes hours and hours and hours sometimes. Like, my longest wait to get out of Burning Man was 7.5 hours. It was awful, awful. But you kind of come to expect it and or plan for it. Plan for like a better time to leave, you know? And by that token, having an interstate would be nice, because all they have is a highway, a two-way highway. If there was an interstate off-ramp or something
7 months
going on to
years,
like,
holy shit,
2 lanes this way and 2 lanes that way, that would alleviate a bunch of shit. But it's like you would imagine, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's only one town that's anywhere near, and it's like a town of like 1,200 people. So like, that's not gonna happen. I just wish there was a better way to go in and out. Exodus sucks. Thank you for the 113 months there, Jack Stryker. I appreciate it. All right, next question. From Cosmic Blip again, most music festivals have big places for food trucks and so on. Do they do things like that at Burning Man, or just cook food at camps? Yeah, no food trucks, no nothing. No selling of anything, no advertising of anything, no corporate sponsors, no none of that. No buying, no purchasing, all gifting. But that said, there are tons of camps. Like, you could probably go to Burning Man with only water and eat fine every day if you plan it out right. Because there are camps serving food at 24 hours a day. Like, not one camp serving 24 hours. I mean, like, from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., waffles. From 7 a.m. to, noon, quesadillas. So on and so forth. There's every kind of food from every, like different category. There's Indian food, Chinese food, Mexican food, like American food, like all kinds of food at all different hours. And everybody, like, you can get coffee almost any time of day. Same thing. Midnight poutine is another good example. Like, they serve poutine at midnight for like 3 or 4 hours or something. So, yeah. You could go out there with, I don't advise it, but you could get by just eating gifted food the whole time you're out there. Are there porta potties or you poop in bags? There's porta potties, yeah. There's definitely portos out there. I guess that's the other thing that your ticket and the org provides from your tickets is porta potties and the cleaning therein. Because they clean the porta potties, I think, once a day or once every other day. So that was the big problem during the rainstorm of last year, was that the trucks couldn't get in to clean the porta potties and they were overflowing. So people were starting to pee in bags and, buckets and that kind of shit, literally, because you couldn't get to the portos, and when you did, they were just full of shit. No animals allowed whatsoever. Nope, none. No service animals, no emotional support animals, zero, zip, nada. 2 reasons. 1, they leave poop and pee on the playa, which is not allowed. And 2, it is fucking awful for them out there. It is dangerous. Like, animals get away and they go out in the desert and die. So, 2 very good reasons that animals are not allowed. But you should be. Should we petition Burning Man to let you in there? Oh, sweet boy. Yes, my sweet
Behind
boy.
you.
Yes, my sweet boy. Yes. We should allow you in, huh? Yeah. All right, let's see. What kind of burner would you say Robbie P is? Oh my God. The more detail you can give us, better. You know what? I'll answer that some other day. Ask me again some other day, Cosmic Blip, and I will get into it with you. I'll let you know. Robbie P is an inside joke that I don't have the energy for right now. Any protests this year getting at the gate? No protests that we could see. Not saying there wasn't any, we just didn't see any. You said nonstop drive, how did you poop? It wasn't nonstop, we had to stop for gas. Like, you can't make it on, like, on a full tank of gas, you make it a certain distance and then you poop and pee when you fill up. Come on, Sea Lion. What if some guy, influencer, whatever, gets sponsored to go there and be a reporter for some brand? Still shit. I mean, it's against the principles of going out there and being there, being present and experiencing shit, but I'm sure it happens. It's just, you kind of get, like, I would boo that person if I knew they were there to do that, but there are influencers everywhere out there. Like, it just happens. In fact, there was a special, like, there's something out on the playa called the Golden Hour, which is like just after the sun eclipses the mountains, and it's like this wonderfully lit glow that's perfect for taking pictures. And there's a camp that does a bike ride to try and ruin influencers' pictures during this hour every day. Like, you meet up at this spot and you look for influencers around art pieces and you try and photobomb them every chance you get. And I think that is fucking hilarious. So yeah, there are influencers out there, but it's tolerated, but, you know, kind of frowned upon. It's like, do you want to come out to Burning Man to look pretty? Or do you want to have fun out here and experience this shit? Because it has so much to offer. But, you know, it's like trying to tell someone how to enjoy a piece of art. It's like, no, you're not enjoying this piece of art right. Like, yeah, but, you know, fucking, you don't like this piece of art, it's because you don't understand it. Whatever. frowned upon, but not unallowed. All right. Let's see. Do you need a permit or buy something to get one of these custom vehicles on the playa? On the playa. Yes, you need to apply. You need to apply for a mutant vehicle pass or art car mutant vehicle, all similar, all synonyms. If you hear me say mutant vehicle or art car, same thing. But yes, you have to go there. Once you get your vehicle there, you have to go through, like at the beginning of my stream, I said there's the DMV line where all the art cars line up and they get certified to be out on the playa, meaning someone inspects the vehicle, make sure it's not going to be like it's not going to leave shit all over the playa, like garbage and stuff all over the playa. And it runs right, and it has like sound structures for people to stand on, dance on, so on and so forth. So yes, you apply, and then they certify you once you're out there, and then you're good to go. I don't know how much you pay for that though. I haven't looked into that part because I've never had one. So as far as like, do you have to pay for the permit? I would assume so, but I don't know. If your camp is disallowed, can you come back with another camp? Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're with like, Dirty Ned's shit camp and they get busted for leaving too much pollution on the playa, you can absolutely go find another camp and go with them. They don't count individuals. They just count the camp as a whole. So yeah, that is a way around it. Of course, it sucks, but yeah. Let's see. Have you ever gotten really sick at Burning Man, like diarrhea, for example? But yeah, I've never gotten like actually sick. Like I've never had like the flu, that. But having an icky stomach, pretty common at Burning Man. Like sometimes it's hard not to look in, like you look before you sit in the porta potty, right? And sometimes the seat is up and you see the poopies of the people before you. Kind of unavoidable. It's rare to see a solid poop out there. It's usually loose to watery. Just because of the whole kind of the situation that you're in. You don't eat regular meals a lot of times. A lot of times the meals are like on the go, quick, full of salt, full of, like shit you like benefit from out there. And it doesn't make for a lot of times a healthy poopy. So, yeah. But yeah, diarrhea is pretty common out there, but it's not like sickness. The sickest you get is from taking a drug you shouldn't be taking. Oh shit, I forgot to tell the story about that. But speaking of, someone we know was influenced by someone else we know to take something that she shouldn't have taken. And it was because that substance didn't affect her before. We're like, maybe it'll affect you this time. It affected her in a bad way. And she was not in a good way, feeling pretty irky. And I was there trying to take care of her, and I was feeling real good. So I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Do you want to lay down? You want cookie? You want a movie? I'll make you some hot chocolate. So, yeah. So we both, each of us, hypothetically, had a bad night. My night was the night before, and it was out of my gourd nonverbal, and hers was like, I can't move her. Thankfully, she wasn't way out on deep playa and had to come back. She started having her feelings when we were still in camp. So she was like, I'm not going anywhere right now. Yeah. Did you hear the other side of this story? Yeah. But nothing bad happened. Just had a bad time for a while. She had trouble getting to sleep. Woke up, still a little high. But, it worked itself out eventually. But it was a lesson for both of us. Me, I don't do that thing. And her, she doesn't do that thing anymore. We both learned something. So net gain, I think. Some people poop with the seat still down. Yes, a poo-poo platter. They do. Some people don't look before they sit, and they just sit on the seat. The solid, not the seat, but the lid. They sit on the lid and just go like out the fucking sides because they don't look before they sit. And it's gross. It's real gross. I didn't see it this year, but I have seen it. Yeah. All right. Next. Have you ever gotten okay, no. How did the coffee stand traffic go? It was okay. We were in a place that was set kind of far back from the main drag. So like it was kind of slow, but it was all right. We had some steady business. We didn't sell anything, so it wasn't like anything was exchanging hands, but like foot traffic, I guess you could say. It was slow but steady. So nothing we couldn't handle, and we got frequent breaks when there wasn't anybody to serve. So it was all right. Ever run into any of the Critical Role guys out there? I believe a few of them go over here. I don't know any of them. The only one I know is Matt Mercer. Like the rest of them, I don't know them. I don't watch Critical Role, so I'm not sure. How much did you miss Mark this year? A lot. So much. You have no idea. I missed my belly smooches this year. I really, really did. Guess who asked that question? Mark. Mark himself asked that question, by the way. Mark was one of our camp leads from the year before. And they skipped out on Burning Man this year because it was him and his wife's 10th wedding anniversary. So instead of going to Burning Man, they did something else that was probably a lot less fun. So I have a stereotypical idea of Burning. Oh, this is Vunter, Vunter. So I have a stereotypical idea of Burning Man. I think it's a giant sex fest, drug fest. So Zeke, what is the general day in the life of Burning Man, or at Burning Man? Like, what do you most look forward to? I get that people think that it's a sex fest, drug fest, and there definitely is that element. It's prevalent, but the more times that I've gone to Burning Man, the more I look forward to seeing the art pieces and making connections with other people. Like, that's the good stuff. That's the stuff I look most forward to. Is like just striking up a conversation with someone random and learning about them and hearing about their life and like, how many burns they've been out and what they're enjoying out here. Like people from all over the world, not just all over the United States, but all over the world, and hearing about their journeys and their lives and like what they do like in the mundane world and stuff like that. I love that shit. Love connecting, man. It's super, super fun. And honestly, the drugs and the sex, like, they kind of take a back seat, or have for me. Like, some people still, like, been going out there 15 years, and that's still what they look forward to the most, is getting drugged up and having just awesome, like, random sex with people. And more power to them. But for me, honestly, it's the human connection that I look forward to the most. And a lot of times it just happens within a camp. Like, I've never camped with the exact same people 2 times in a row. Like, every time I've camped, even with the same camp, there's a bunch of different people there every time. So, like, you get to make new connections with new people and, share your lives with them, share who you are with them. And that's just awesome. Like, it's a feeling that drugs can't replicate, in my opinion. And it's what I would think, like, my buddy said, like, I don't believe in God, but I believe in the Force. And I was like, what does that mean to you? He said, it's the connections between living things. That's the Force to me. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I dig that. And that's the feeling, the Force, the connection, the kind of indescribable thing between two people when you're like really jibing with each other. You're really like grooving with them. You're like, oh yeah, man, that's so cool. Let me tell you about my life. And you tell them and they're like super into it. That's so sweet. That's so cool. But also drugs and sex are cool, yeah! Sorry. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of hedonism out there, but there's also a lot of like love and caring and respect and that kind of shit. That's great. It's great. You can find it if you want to find it. And that's honestly, that's what how I did my first 2 years. I took and took and took. Like, I went to Burning Man just to take. Meaning, like, I sapped it of all of its, like, I partied nonstop. I did lots of drugs. I danced and I took and I took and I gave nothing back. Every year I went, I gave more and more and more and more back. And it felt better and better and better. So that's how my journey went. Let's see. Did you visit your old camp and what was your favorite camp to see? My old camp wasn't there. My old camp was not there this year. What was my favorite camp to see? I'm guessing you mean besides ours. Because after a long bike ride or, long night out, seeing your own camp is like an oasis in the desert. You're like, that's where I eat and sleep. I'm so happy I'm here. I mean, as far as like what is my favorite camp to see? Like, I love seeing new camps with new ideas. Or different ideas than I've seen already, There's all kinds of different, like, camps that provide different gifts out there. Like, pick a modern amenity that you like, and there's a camp for that. Like, do you want to get, like, your nails done? There's a camp that does that. Do you want to get your hair washed and styled, or if there's camps for that? Do you want to take a nice hot shower? Camps for that too. Do you want to play video games? There's several camps for that. I shit you not. They bring out their LANs and their monitors and their towers and shit, and they have like fucking StarCraft tournaments and shit out there.
Glad you're back.
He does give a lot of true. Oh, thanks, Mark. Crystal, thank you for the 108 months. Why go to desert to do so, though? No, I bring that back in the World Chronicle. That's kind of the magical thing. I went there and started bringing pieces of it back with me into society. Pieces of do to your fellow man or your fellow human, do unto them as you would have done unto you. The golden rules, that type of shit. Like, open yourself up to other people and they will open themselves up to you. Lessons learned at Burning Man. Like, it's like all the good, like lots of the good lessons that in your heart get like magnified out there. Like everybody's like open, like not everybody's, I'm making generalization, but most people are out there are open and willing to let you in, hug you, comfort you, help you. People will drop what they're doing just to help you. Like if your bike gets a flat tire or whatever, there's people that if they see it, they'll come out and be like, I know where's the bike place, follow me. I'll take you to where you can get your tube repaired. Or like, if you're having like heat exhaustion, I'm like, let's walk you to the med tent. Some fucking stranger will come up to you and be like, let's walk you to the med tent. And you takes that shit back with you, man. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad to be back. All right. Where was I? Did the protests from the... No protests this year. This might be a stupid question, but how costly is visiting Burning Man? Oh, I answer that. Like, it costs a lot right off the top. Like, my first trip out there was like $2,000 for just me. And then it got less. And it gets less. But, every so often you got to buy some new shit. So I would say, Mark, maybe you can help me out, Mark. Like, what do you think is an average amount that you have to pay to get to go to Burning Man and, you know, survive? I'd say if you did it on a budget, tickets included, not counting whatever gas or travel expenses, you could probably do it for like, because tickets are what, like almost 500? So that's a big chunk right there is your ticket. If you're driving out there, vehicle pass, you have to buy that. But if you're going out there with a big camp and you're taking the Burner Express, I don't know, you could probably get by with like $1,000. 1,200, there you go, 1,200. Something like that. Did you go by yourself the first time? No, I didn't. I went with a camp. I went with a camp from San Francisco called Camp Family Hug, which such a strange syntax name. Is 1,200 You Will Survive or for a Jason experience? No, it's You Will Survive. I mean, but you got to think like $500 of that, Zuckus, is just your ticket. So that other $700 is like, if you really budget, like water, food, tent, bike. I think those are the 4 things. Like bike, you don't even necessarily, if you just want to walk everywhere, you don't need a bike. So water, food, shelter, like your basic human needs, you can get that covered for $1,200. Had the Coachella crowd ruined the vibe for Burning Man? No, not at all. No. Coachella is a different thing. Like, if you go to any other festival, it's sponsored. There's sponsorship shit everywhere. You buy everything. It's super expensive if you want to buy, like, a shirt or a hot dog or whatever. Out of Burning Man, you don't pay for anything. Once you're out there, once you've paid the initial cost, you're done. You don't pay a single... I didn't whip out my money, like, except to buy ice. I didn't pay for anything else while I was out there. So keep that in mind. And remember, you can stay out there for like 8 full days, 8 24-hour periods. So like, think about getting a hotel for that long. Like even the cheapest hotel, that's probably going to cost you more than $1,200. Okay, let's see. Did you get to ride any wild cars, bikes? Were there any you wanted to? If not, yes, I did not. I didn't get on an art car this year, but you can. We just chose not to because getting on an art car is kind of a commitment because they will take you, like you park your bike, lock it up, and they will take you out on the playa. And you don't, like, if you want to get back to your bike and you're out there, you have to get off the art car and walk back to your shit. So like, if you want to get on our car, it's kind of a commitment. You're kind of like, if I don't want to walk back to my bike, I have to stay on the art car until it circles back around. But, you know, I don't feel like I miss out on anything by not getting on one because I can travel to them when they stop because they stop and like do like, you know, they'll have like dance parties like where they stop and shit like that. But, you know, it would have been nice, but it's not something I really, really like. It's on my checklist of things to do. But people like it. I've been on one before. I'm like, this is fun. But the best ones are the ones that are associated with your camp. So, you know, like one year we had an art car and we went out in it and we came back to our camp, which was great. But more often than not, they're not associated with your camp. So you're jumping on some other camp's art car and they cruise around wherever they want and they go back to their camp, which is probably far away from yours. Let's see. Our camp gifting this year was coffee or Irish coffee. So we had coffee and whiskey that we gave, and it was late night. Well, not late night, but like later in the day. It was 9 p.m. to 12 p.m., 9 p.m. to midnight. We served coffee and whiskey. Let's see. What did you eat for dinners? Oh, we had a camp chef there that pre-made like really good meals. Like he put them in like pre-made them, put them in baggies, put them in our camp freezer. So we had like pre-cooked meals that we would just mostly heat up. So we had like bacon, pancakes, eggs like every morning, and for dinner we had like curry and nachos and tacos and like Velveeta shells and cheese. Like we had cool, like pretty decent dinners every night. But if you go out there without, this is the first year I've had a camp that had breakfast and dinner like scheduled. Like when we've been out there the first few times, I survived on like snacky foods, like foods that keep, beef jerky, crackers, like, you know, the shit that you can put on your shelves that doesn't spoil, like that kind of shit. Canned foods, like canned, like ravioli soup, like anything that comes in a can. Also, I swear by those fucking Mountain Man dehydrated bag meals. Like if you go to any like camping store or whatever, they have those dehydrated meals that you boil in a bag. They give you, they're not bad tasting, and they give you calories, much needed calories to, you know, keep your energy up. So I swear by those. I get like the bucket of like I think like 18 of them or whatever, and that's more than enough. Yep, REI. Yep. If it's pitch dark at night, how's the view of our galaxy? It's a little bit wonky out at Burning Man because there's lights on all the time. Like it's never really pitch dark out there. And also the dust is pretty constant. So the sky is beautiful when you can actually see it. But I will say, if you want to see the most gorgeous sky that you can in the US, stop somewhere on a highway in Wyoming. Because there's no light pollution, there's no pollution, and it is the best way to see the most stars that you can ever see in the continental United States, outside of Alaska. If you can get to Alaska, that's the best. But if the continental United States is all you can do, Wyoming is amazing. The sky is just fucking glorious. How many have you been to now? 6. This was number 6 for me. What drugs were consumed by someone who isn't you, allegedly? I have to go back to work soon, so I'll probably miss the answer. Oh shit, sorry, Science and Empathy. But what drugs, popular drugs out there are all of them, every one of them, probably that one, and of course that one. So like, take your pick. No, for reals, like it's the party drugs that you would imagine. Like there's a lot of hallucinogenics, mushrooms, acid, 2CB, like all kinds of stuff. There's also like ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, all kinds of drugs. Ketamine is pretty popular. But what drugs did I consume? None. Oh, not me. Someone who isn't me. I heard that someone who isn't me consumed alcohol, ketamine, cocaine, or I said alcohol, Molly, THC, marijuana. Someone who isn't me probably consumed some quantities of those over the 8 days that they were there. Allegedly. Yeah, there's still, Mark said there's still a lot of light pollution because of all the activities, but on a clear night, it's great. Yes, that is very true. And the sunsets out there, sunrise and sunset out on the playa, just because of being there, and the sunrise is when it starts to get a little quiet. It's times like that are the closest I get to being spiritual. Really, really cool. Really cool. Let's see. Who's the oldest person you saw there attending this year? I said this earlier, but 80. The dude that was helping us serve ice to the masses, 80 years old. He was an ex-professor of something, philosophy, anthropology, something. But it was his first time out at Burning Man, and it was so cool. He was in khaki pants and a tie-dye shirt, and he was hauling one bag at a time of ice, and he was just doing it, man. And we looked at it, me and the other guy, we looked at him like, hopefully, right? And he's like, yeah, man, hopefully we're here or somewhere of like this, adventuring when we're still that old. It was cool. Let's see. Getting close to the end of the questions. How was the weather during the day and night? Get pretty cold tonight? It gets chilly at night. It does. It drops by a lot. Like the days were pretty hot and not a lot of wind this year, so we stayed out of the sun during the high sun hours, like between the hours of 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. That's when the sun is highest and hottest. If there's no breeze, fuck, it's rough. It's rough, especially for someone like me who doesn't like hot weather. But the night is great, and it didn't get like for Katie, it got pretty cold. For me, it got pretty comfortable. So yeah, it gets down to like, I think the lowest was like mid 50s, or actually like high 40s was like the lowest, but usually it hovered around like 55, 59, somewhere around there. So not terrible. Yo! Pone Flakes!
Oi, glad you made it back. Aight, back to lurking and waiting to shitbox Scott.
Thank you, Pone Flakes, and thank you for the 7 years. 7 goddamn years. And may I say, what should I say? I should say, get your hand off my penis! Get your hand off my penis! Thank you very much for not touching my penis. All right, let's see. Any unique or good locations to stop on the way? There was one. I am a moron of the highest order.
Say this grabs crotch.
Say this grabs crotch. Okay, this was the place. Yeah. No, we stopped in a place in Wyoming that was called Little America, and it was just this really super nice like gas station convenience store with like tons of souvenirs and shit. And it was just in the middle of the fucking interstate. I think the town popped up around this nice gas station, but it was like the nicest gas station bathroom I've ever been in. It's very strange. Just in the middle of nowhere. It was called Little America, Wyoming. Oh, and oh shit, hold on. But guess what my ass got in Little America? I went to Little America and I said, I'm going to get something from here. And I did. And it fits wonderfully. And I'm taking it to Burning Man. Hold on.
A succulent Chinese meal?
I got a succulent Chinese meal. Absolutely, Neil Megasonic. Thank you for the 127 months. But no, I got this in Little America, Wyoming. I'm taking it to every Burning Man. Oh, hell yeah. I got myself a leather fucking cowboy hat. You goddamn right. Ma'am? Oh, yeah. And oh my God, and it fits perfectly. I cannot believe how well, because I gotta, like, it's not huge. Like, it's not like Barry Bonds' head. But I do have a bigger head, so it is difficult for me to find hats that fit, especially ones that aren't adjustable. Because this one does not adjust. It is just leather, you know? But it fits, without the headphones, fits so well. No, it's not on backwards. Backwards seam. You can tell it's not backwards because there's a seam on the back. Asshole, don't try and convince me it's backwards, you piece of shit. All right, made him look. You fucker, fuck you. You know what? Yeah, that's what you get. Don't make me look, you piece of shit. You take a break in the shit box. All right, only a few more questions left. How was the weather in comparison to last year's Burning Man? Did you hear the story of last year's Burning Man when it rained for 3 days and we couldn't, like, all the stuff we had planned went out the fucking window because we couldn't move for 3 full days of the burn. And it was a real fucking bummer, dude. So the weather in comparison was heavenly, was wonderful. Last year sucked. This year was almost perfect. The only thing that would have made it perfect was a little bit more of a breeze to like cool you off, like you're sweating because it's, 92, 93 degrees out there in Freedom Units, which is like, I want to say like 37 in Celsius, but I don't know. But yeah, there was no breeze to cool off the sweat. That's the only thing I would have asked for. Other than that, yeah. And we drank a lot of whiskey together because it was raining. Last year. This year was great. Let me see here. When was the first time you went to Burning Man? 2013. That was my first year. What year was your favorite? We talked about this a little bit earlier. Someone asked. The first year blew my mind. This year filled my heart. So 2 kind of different feelings. Like, it was all like, holy fuck, what is this place? It's amazing, my first time. Also, I was on copious amounts of drugs that entire time I went out the first time. This time, I was on a minimum of drugs for the back half of it. But I had my lady out there with me. And that, in and of itself, makes it comparable to the first burn. So, yeah. But they're, like I said, totally different feelings. Let's see. I'll just box myself. I will learn eventually. Okay. There you go. Goodbye. Have fun. Burners like to use the phrase, next year was better. Yeah. Yep. You know what year's better? Next year. Yeah. You're welcome, Jarhead. I'm glad to do it. This year, this fucking took longer than I thought. I was like, I'll do 4 hours. 7 hours later, I'm still fucking here chatting about it. But then again, last year I didn't have a lot to talk about because it got rained out. All right, couple more questions. Dexter the Dragon asks, do you have to rub in spray-on sunscreen? Fuck you. I know that's a fucking dig on my ass, and I hate you. So the story behind that little question is, I didn't realize that you had to rub in, like you use the spray-on sunscreen, you rub it in. So I did that on Katie, except for one area in the middle of her back, and that area, you can see exactly where the spots from the spray-on thing landed, because she has speckles going up her back where the burn went around, but the sunscreen protected her in those little spots. And yep, fucked that right up. So she's got like a nice, weird Jackson Pollock tan in the middle of her back. God, that felt so stupid. So stupid. Remember you telling last year you were so... Wait, hold on. Concerned Katie had a bad time due to weather. Glad this year was awesome. I was, and I needn't have been. That's the thing. She had a blast. Even though it was rained out for three of the 7 days or 8 days, she had a blast. She loved it. Loved enough to come back again. Loved it enough to keep coming back. So we'll be back there again next year. Apparently there's more questions. Oh, there we go. Okay. Does anything remain between Burning Men's? I have no idea what you're fucking trying to say, Partly Atomic. There must be a joke there I'm not getting. Does anything remain between Burning Men's? Oh, you mean stuff left on the playa? Okay, I see what you're saying. As little as humanly possible. No, it takes a while, but they do in fact take every single thing off of the playa, but it takes months. You know, they take a long time to like clean it up, pick up everything, and move it off of the playa. But yes, like a few months down the road, there will be nothing there on the dry lake bed. Nothing. And then next year, like month or two out, they start building it up again. Oh, are there any permanent installations? No, there's not, Partly Atomic. No permanent installations. As far as I know. Koala Sloth, can you recall what items you didn't have the first year you attended that would have helped make your experience better? Yes, actually. A better bicycle. Let's see. Oh, better clothes. Because I didn't know what to bring, so I brought a bunch of shorts and Hawaiian shirts out there. Which, I mean, isn't bad, but like, you're there to express yourself, so bring out like shit you wouldn't normally wear. That you might like to wear. You know, like kimonos or fur coats or whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's one thing I would have, if I would have, but I didn't know any better. It's my first burn. So I brought out shit that I thought I would like, and then came back with better knowledge of like what I would like next year. And I do that every year. I have a list of shit. Even this year that I would like to bring out. Parasol for bikes, a jet boiler, Japanese work boots, solar charger and mobile fan, a cowboy hat, check. Hand towels for wiping plates and cups, bike locks with keys instead of combinations, a basket for my bike or a cart. So every year I think of new shit that I want to bring out there. It's a federal park. Yes, it is federal land indeed. You can lose keys. Yeah, but that's why most people who have a key for their bike, they tie it on a rope around their neck. Have you met any celebrities at Burning Man? No, not really. I know there are some there, but I've never actually met one. I know some celebrities go out there, but I've never personally met one. Oh, someone asked earlier, have I ever gotten recognized out there? Oddly enough, 1 year I did. I got recognized once when I went to get ice. Someone looked at me and was like, Zeke? And I went, yeah. And he goes, Twitch, I watch you sometimes. Like, wow. Okay. That's fucking cool. Thank you. That was it. How why did you decide to do Burning Man for the first time? What convinced you there's something you need to do? 10:00, a friend. Like just like me to you, word of mouth. My buddy went out there like 4 times and he was like, you gotta come next year, you dig it. I was like, I had the money and the time off from my job at the time at the pawn shop. in order to make it work out. And I took that time off and I made the commitment and I went out there because he said I would dig it, and I did. He described it to me. I asked him a bunch of questions like you guys are asking me now. And honestly, my biggest concern was that I was too square to go out there. I was like too straight-laced. And I'm a wacky dude, but I'm not like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll all the time. But I found out like there are squares out there, dude. I mean, people play fucking Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons out there. Like camps based around that shit. So I was like, wow, there's something for everybody out here. It's awesome. Would you go in an RV? I might, but I thought about getting an Airstream. Not an RV, but an Airstream, just so I have someplace that's a little bit more, like I could stand up in and change my clothes that's not like in the middle of the dust. You know what I'm saying? Someplace that I can keep relatively dust free so I can have a clean area to, to sleep and change clothes in. But I don't really see myself needing an RV. I certainly wouldn't poo-poo and pee-pee in one, because you can get your gray and black water like sucked out by like traveling suckers. I don't know what they're called, but they're you have to actually like flag them down, get them to come to your RV and do that shit for you. So like, even if I did bring an RV, I wouldn't take advantage of all the amenities that it provides, because I'd still use the portos, and I probably would use like a camp shower if anything. But yeah, I brought a trailer out there. The first 2 years I brought a trailer out there, and that was nice to have, but it was also like bulky, a truck and a trailer is, a lot for a little camp. And I've never camped. I've only camped in a big camp one time. Ichiban cosplay next year, or any crazy cosplay? Usually you don't see, like, there's not a lot of copywritten branding cosplays out there. Usually you just cobble together an outfit. Like, you don't see like cosplay characters from like anime or manga or television streaming shows or video games out there, because it's kind of a form of advertising. Like, the only actually copywritten, I think, I'm not sure if it's public domain, but the only copywritten like characters I saw out there were the ghosts from Pac-Man. There was some cool like art cars that lit up and they looked exactly like the ghosts from Pac-Man, like Blinky and shit, like going along the playa, like built on top of like golf carts. But other than that, you don't really see like characters out there. Oh, there's a ton of solar power out there, but there's also like solar power isn't able to power everything, so there's a lot of generators too. Like gas powered generators, for sure. But solar power is becoming better and better and better, so people are using it more and more and more. But it's still not quite the match of gas powered. Yeah, and sound systems, yeah, they're difficult to power without gas. Yeah. Did you guys get or lose any Jolly Rogers? Oh, flags? No. And our flags, like a couple of our flags were easy to steal, and no one attempted to steal our Jolly Rogers. I didn't even see any other ones, or I would have tried to steal them. But no, I didn't see many other ones out there that were outside of our camp. But I would have taken one, for sure. Okay, one last question. The internet hive mind seems to think Burning Man has been commercialized, and it's not what it once was. Has that been your experience over the past 10 years? Commercialized? No, because it's not allowed. But as far as like the people who attend events changes over the years. There's nothing you can do to change it. Do you bring your own beer? Yes, absolutely. Bring your own beer, whiskey, but there's people giving that shit away too. But as far as commercialization goes, no one buys or sells anything out there. And you're not allowed to like set up a Pepsi tent or a Bud Light tent or anything like that. But commercialization, like, I think I get the sentiment you're trying to say. There are definite like glampers that go there, and the huge RVs with all the amenities you could think of, like the big, $100,000, $200,000 vehicles that have like full-size beds and nice warm showers and shit like that. Sure, there's that stuff out there, but it's the minority. But no one talks about, like, no one advertises shit out there. Like, it's kind of like, from person to person, it's okay to ask, like if you get to know them, like what they do in the outside world, but it's not something that's a concern, really. You're here at this place doing these awesome shit. Like, why would you care about what happens, in the default world is what they call it. But there are CEOs and celebrities and stuff like that that do go out there, but hey, fuck it. Let them burn too. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to, go out there if they have lots of money. Or just because they have lots of money. Like, I have way more money than I did when I first went out to the burn. But I find it, and I camp more comfortably than I did the first time too. I have purchased better bikes, more better food, that kind of shit. I'm not scraping together shit that I find at pawn shops. I'm buying new good stuff that'll last me years and years and years. But, do I enjoy the burn any more or less because I have more money? No, absolutely not. Burning Man is like Disneyland for adults. I would say it's more like, oh God, someone said it perfectly and I can't remember what they said. It's like a more dangerous McDonald's Playland for adults, I would say. A more sexy and dangerous. Like, if you took McDonald's Playland and you make no one supervise you and you could have sex in the ball pit whenever you wanted. There. That's kind of Burning Man-ish. One of the Burning Man org's largest costs is their head offices in San Francisco, but they also contribute to local endeavors in Gerlach and Reno, which are towns, shortly outside of Black Rock, as well as Burners Without Borders group that raises funds and awareness for distant communities. Indeed. I much prefer Disney World over Burning Man. Have you been to both, Kamen Rider? Have you been to both? Because I have. Are you lying right now? Yeah, tickets were not hard to get this year because they were not sold out. For the first time in 14 years, Burning Man was not sold out. And the reason for that is because people got scared from last year. Did you get to the Thunderdome this year? No, we didn't. We did not get to the Thunderdome this year, but a couple from our camp did, and they beat the shit out of each other, and they loved it. But no, we didn't get out to the Thunderdome this year. By the way, the first time I went to Burning Man, on the slow line up to the ticket gate, there was a road sign saying, it was better last year. That was in 1999. Is there a lot of public sex at Burning Man? No. People don't have sex out in the open. There's enough designated places for you to have sex in private or in public that they don't need to. If you want to have sex in front of an audience, there's places to do that are closed in. But in 6 years going, I've never seen a couple having sex, or a couple or throuple or more, having sex out in the open on the street. It just doesn't really happen, as far as I can tell. But that said, there's a lot of sex happening. everywhere you go. It's usually just like in a tent, in a camper, in a orgy dome, you know. Zeke, I'm a Disney adult and don't drink or do drugs for medical reasons. You must have missed it when I said, Common Writer, that there are sober burners. There's AA meetings out there all the time. There are people who don't do drugs or drink or anything out there. In fact, I don't do that most of the time. Like 5 out of the 7 days I was out there, I was completely stone cold sober. I remember there was a Mile High Club camp that is that still a thing? I don't know. I do not know. Bring Death Guild an unopened bottle of whiskey and you can probably get a fast lane entry. Yes. If you want to get into Thunderdome, you bring a bottle of nice whiskey and you bribe them to get ahead in the line. The nicer the whiskey, the more the couple that from our camp that went to Thunderdome brought a bottle of whiskey, but it wasn't a great bottle of whiskey. So people with better whiskey went in, got set in the line before them. They eventually got in, but they had to wait behind the people who brought more or better. Yeah. As far as finances go, ticket, gas, all told, probably around $1,600. Yeah. But I mean, it's 8 days out in the desert. You can spend 8 full 24-hour days out there and you don't have to pay for anything once you get out there. So that's the difference between going on non all-inclusive resort stuff. It's you pay the ticket, you pay the hotel, you pay for the flights, but then once you get there, you have to pay for everything else, like your meals and all that shit. With Burning Man, it's you pay for it up front and you don't pay for anything afterwards. No, $1,600 per person, but a lot of that Telos Velox, a lot of that is shared. So for both of us, it was probably around $2,500. But there's certain shared things our tent, our camp, our food and blah, 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 blah. So the more people you bring, the cost goes down a little, you know? Oh, you do pay for it afterwards, just not in cash. No, you pay for it with poo-poo. You shit out $1,600 when you get back. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And STDs. if you're not safe or careful. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Couple more questions because we only got 8 minutes left of the stream, which I didn't think we were going to get 8 hours out of today, but apparently we did. Okay. Why don't you stop in Tahoe on your way back from the burn? Tahoe? I don't think Tahoe's on my way back. Yeah, Tahoe's in California, dude. Do you mean Reno? If you're talking about Reno it's not on my way back either. Yeah, Reno is the other direction. So when we leave Burning Man, we go this way. Reno and Tahoe are this way. So you expect me to go 3.5 hours that way? No thanks. You can see your camps on Google Maps. Oh, really? Look at the G Plaza and you can see the Second Wind Pirate Cafe. Next one. I asked, this is from Koala Sloth. Last question I'll take. From Koala Sloth. I asked you last year and I'll ask again. What would you like to see for the future of Burning Man? I mean, honestly, the same thing I say every year. What I would like to see at Burning Man is more people taking the principles, the 10 principles that Burning Man is hopefully built on, and taking them to heart. You know, if you want to look up the 10 principles, they're plastered all over the burningman.org site. But taking more personal responsibility for the help, to help everyone. And that means like not littering on the playa, picking up litter when you see it, being more helpful, being more respectful, and being more careful when dealing with other people, or indirectly dealing with other people. So if you see someone that needs help, help them. You know, I would love to see more of that every year. Every year I would love to see more people just stopping and picking up garbage. I do it because I want other people to see me do it. You know? Because I want a clean playa as well. You know, I don't want to go out there with, you know, toilet paper and, you know, shit just blowing in the wind and stuff like that, like little pieces of costumes, stuff like that. And like adhering to like the guidelines. The guidelines clearly state like what's allowed out there, what creates garbage and stuff like that. Just more community, you know, more community-minded shit. That's what I want every year. And it's honestly, it's still to this day, as far as festivals that I've gone to, it's still the cleanest, most respectful, most safe feeling venue of any venue I've been to. But it can always improve. It can always be better, you know? Leave no trace. Leave more of no trace. Also, I would really like, here, hold on. Let me, I'll just read these because I did it last year. I'll do it again this year. These are the 10 principles of Burning Man. Okay? I'll leave you with this. I just wish more people would adhere and take these to heart. The 10 principles of Burning Man. Radical inclusion. Anyone may be a part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. No prerequisites exist for participation in our community. Gifting. Burning Man is devoted to acts of gift giving. The value of a gift is unconditional. Gifting does not contemplate a return or an exchange of something of equal value. That was a huge, huge personal lesson. Because all of my life, I thought giving gifts meant that you got something in return. Meant this for that. Burning Man taught me what a gift is. A gift is, here you go, set it on fire if you want, because it's yours now, and I expect nothing in return. That was a huge lesson I had to learn, which is so weird because you think like gift is an easy concept. It's really not in today's society. Decommodification. Big word. Decommodification. In order to preserve the spirit of gifting, our community seeks to create social environments that are unmediated by commercial sponsorships, transactions, or advertising. We stand ready to protect our culture from such exploitation. We resist the substitution of consumption for participatory experience. So no paying for anything. And no commercials, no selling, no advertising. Radical self-reliance. Burning Man encourages the individual to discover, exercise, and rely on his or her inner resources. Radical self-expression. Radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. No one other than the individual or a collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others. In this spirit, the giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient. Communal effort. Our community values creative cooperation and collaboration. We strive to produce, promote, and protect social networks, public spaces, works of art, and methods of communication that support such interaction. Civic responsibility. We value civil society. Community members who organize events should assume responsibility for public welfare and endeavor to communicate civic responsibilities to participants. They must also assume responsibility for conducting events in accordance with local, state, and federal laws. Leaving no trace. Our community respects the environment. We are committed to leaving no physical trace of our activities wherever we gather. We clean up after ourselves and endeavor, whenever possible, to leave such places in a better state than when we found them. Participation. Our community is committed to a radically participatory ethic. We believe that transformative change, whether in the individual or in society, can occur only through the medium of deeply personal participation. We achieve being through doing. Everyone is invited to work. Everyone is invited to play. We make the world real. Sorry. We make the world real through actions that open the heart. Immediacy, excuse me. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone of value in our culture. We seek to overcome barriers that stand between us and a recognition of our inner selves, the reality of those around us, participation in society, and contact with a natural world exceeding human powers. No idea can substitute for this experience. That's what I'm saying, man. If you really I dig that shit like hard. I love that shit. And it's very socialism, but like working for the greater good of everyone. If everyone chips in a little, you know? Beautiful. When you see that happen, it's beautiful. It really is. Yeah. And notice how none of the 10 principles talks about sex or drugs. Anyways, thank you for watching. And thank you for participating in my Burning Man recap. Thank you for all your questions. I hope I answered them as best I can. And also, if you have any questions that I didn't answer, just come to another stream and I'll fucking answer them. I love talking about this shit. So I'll probably drop what I'm doing and be like, you know what? Let's talk about Burning Man for 20 minutes for no reason. Okay, sure. Okay, anyways, things that are coming up on my channel. My work, you know, this didn't even feel like work today. This felt like decompression, which I love. I'm so glad you guys come out and watch and hopefully enjoy my little Burning Man recap.